It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to season 2, episode, we'll just call it 101, 101 Dalmatians. Today, I am your host, P Dog, joined along with our other host, M Dog. And M Dog, how you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. It's a Friday. It's nice and warm in old Wisconsin, so nothing to complain about. Maybe that it's too hot, but that's just Wisconsin weather is that you're either too cold or too hot. You never just have like a good nobody's just happy with the fucking weather. It's always like don't go outside, it's too fucking hot. Or
It,
don't go outside, it's too fucking cold. Get over it.
I think Louis C.K. had a bit about that. It's like humans must not be from Earth because like the temperature's never right. We need climate control and everything like that. But it's the same even in Florida. Like right now it's too hot. And I was thinking this today. So
And
I
so
would
what
love
does too hot look like in Florida? Like 105?
so I'll get into my unders here eventually, but I'm on the night shift. So honestly, I haven't been paying too close attention to it. I guess quick look at my Apple Watch, the high was 86 today. So, I mean, then it's hot and humid.
Yeah.
Honestly, not too hot for me. I enjoy that type of weather. I can do that. Like once it starts touching mid 90s to upper 90s,
Yeah, with the
that's when it's
humidity, right?
trouble. Yeah. But
Yeah, and so we probably hit close to 90 today. I don't know what the high would have been up here, but it was probably pretty close to the same, if not a little bit hotter.
yeah, it very well could be hotter because I think my dad was saying it's supposed to be 94 tomorrow, and I don't think we're supposed to hit 94 down here. But
Jeez.
definitely Wisconsin gets the most drastic of the two ends.
Yeah, I mean, so we're right there for sure. I'm sure there's places that I wonder what that place is in the country, like that gets like the highest highs in the summer and then the lowest lows in the winter. It's got to be like something in the mountains, right?
Mm, I don't think so. I think Wisconsin might be a good bet. Like northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota. I bet you there is a line though that because I want to say the mountains, maybe if it is the mountains, I think it would just be like more of like where
The
they're
foothills.
oriented. That that could be like if you're in the Dakotas, I think could be a
Yeah.
decent area where it is. But I'm just trying to think like throwing the elevation into it as well. I bet you like because like we talked about Colorado being in the south. I can't remember if it was on the last episode or this
Yeah, it was.
episode, but I think just where they are, like lat longitude, like they don't
Yeah.
get the drastic lows that Wisconsin gets. Like
Okay.
maybe like super high up in the mountains, but like Denver, I don't think so much.
Okay.
And
Yeah, if you
then
get to like 10,000 feet, you might, but at 5,000 feet, maybe not.
yeah, so I think if you followed the Rockies like into like Calgary or something like that, maybe that's
Okay. Yeah.
like where it would be is like if you follow the Rockies north for a while.
Yeah. So maybe like in Idaho or Wyoming, something like that, where they have the mountains, but just don't, and then they're further north as well.
I think so. I definitely could dig into that one a little bit. I probably will
That could be
off.
your, do you have a research project you have to complete for school?
No, not that I know. Oh, I might actually at some point in time. Like I'm just
Yeah.
not
There
not
you go.
quite
Write
there
that
yet.
down. So you have a research project, right? You know, the
I
worst
am
place to
actually.
live in the country because of the highest highs and the lowest lows.
I am gonna write this down actually. Worst place. Sorry. I'm just gonna write it like that.
Is it a badge of honor to live in the worst place?
I think worst place though. I don't know if it would exactly be the worst place because I think
It'd probably
there's
be the best place 6 months out of the year too. Like in your fall times, you probably
yeah,
have like perfect weather for
yeah,
those 3
your
months.
transition seasons, fall and spring. Yeah, I wonder where the worst place to live in terms of temperature weather wise, because every place is pretty hit or miss. Wisconsin is the winter, Florida is the hurricanes.
It's the heat too, right? So like the summertime in Florida is kind of brutal.
Yeah, but like we alluded to, like the summertime in Wisconsin's kind of brutal as well. So it's you get like
Kind
the
of.
shit end of the stick, like whereas the winters in Florida aren't so bad. But I guess, yeah, no, you're right. Because then some people would say, well, the summer in Florida is the same as the winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah, so we're
But
never gonna hit like 110 and have humidity and like just be in like a brutal situation. We might get over 100 this year, maybe.
yeah, but I want to say Florida is like pretty similar to that. Like you don't see
Oh,
a
interesting.
hundred come out. But that's because I mean, I guess if you're on the Gulf side and then you're on the Atlantic side, so like our water is warm around Florida, so it's not quite like California. Even though we already just we thought about this for so long, but I'm pretty sure San Diego is definitely the best.
The
Now that I think
best,
of it,
not the, but we're talking about the worst, right? So
yeah,
San Diego, Hawaii,
yeah,
LA is probably pretty good, right?
yeah. In terms of highs and lows, yeah. And I guess they probably don't get much rain. Yeah, but yeah. Southwest California.
Yeah,
But yeah,
speaking of rain, so like it was May 30th when I mowed my lawn. So like early this week, and my grass was already dead here, like starting to brown up. I shouldn't say dead, right? As soon we got rain tonight, so it'll be flush and green again. But we went like probably like 2.5 weeks without rain, and so grass was already dying before June hit, which is pretty crazy for
yeah,
Wisconsin.
I'm not looking forward to having to take care of a lawn too much. Like I said, like mowing one time a year or maybe the first two times is fine. But do you think your lawn would have a better chance of staying alive if you didn't mow it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. So like my dad did hay. He wasn't saying like, oh, the hay was like already turning brown. It's just basically the same thing. And then there's a
What?
bunch of people that are doing like no mow May, and like in the city where I work. And I saw theirs maybe a day or two after I mowed, and it was looked green. You know, it probably just has more stuff to like feed from. It doesn't have to just get brown right away.
Yeah, definitely. It would be like getting sunburnt on your head. Uh, if you have, like, if you're bald, obviously you're gonna burn on your head easier than if you have hair on your head. But what's the point of no mow May?
To save the bees, I believe.
Okay. See, I would hop on board that. Like anything that's like for a
Yeah, but
purpose
mow
that,
the first time you mow is going to be impossible.
yeah, I mean, it might be a tough go at it, but just set the blade super high.
Yeah.
That's what I always
I mean,
would do to like trick my dad is, I don't know, I would set it lower. But then yeah, if you set it too low, it kills the grass. So yeah, that's
it can, yeah.
another question that is already answered.
Yeah, so like I made it all the way to probably like May 8th. Yeah, so I mowed did I think I mowed on like this like the first Sunday of May. Like one
All
weekend
right.
of May. I
All
had an
right.
excuse though. I would have mowed earlier. I would have mowed probably like Monday or Tuesday, the week my sister died, if like that didn't happen. But then I
Yeah.
didn't feel like mowing, so I didn't mow.
No, I do not blame you for that, but we'll get off mowing lawns. I'm surprised you're not trying to save the bees and taking the easy, lazy excuse, because that's what I would say I was doing for sure.
Yeah, so we've definitely considered it, but like I feel like I would feel like a shitty human. Like I live next to the Legion Hall, right? So and the guy who does the Legion, he spends all day, he's got basically the same size lot I do, right? Basically, maybe a little bit wider. He spends all day doing the lawn, like rakes everything up, like push mows a bunch of it the whole day, spends the entire day there. Like their lawn is super nice because he's there probably for like 7 hours. I spend, if I'm lucky, I'll spend an hour and a half, or if like I spend a lot of time on it, it's an hour and a half, right? I'd like half-ass weed whip.
I forgot you said weed whip instead of weed whack.
Yeah, so like I guess that's like a thing that people don't use the term weed whip. I use them interchangeably, right?
Is it a Wiltonian thing or is it like,
I think it's a Wiltonian thing. Like I never realized that weed whipping was weird versus weed whacking. Yeah, like I didn't know that.
I think I
And
kind
really
of
I didn't
like,
know that until like super recently. I don't think like you even called me out on it at McCoy. Maybe you did and I just overlooked it.
no, I definitely did because I remember, I mean, I didn't remember it until you said it again, but I remembered like, oh yeah, Mike does say weed whipping instead of weed whacking. Like
Yeah.
it rung a bell in my head where I was like, oh, he is the one that says
Yeah.
weed whipping. But
And so like this isn't like a Sparta term either. Right. So you're 20 minutes from me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that ever says it.
yeah, one of those things you heard wrong in your head as a kid, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, okay. I
I
like
think
weed
it sounds
whipping though.
so I feel like it sounds like whacking. When I hear like whacking, like the word whacking, I always think whacking off.
Yeah,
Always.
me
Like
too. I
100%. Like weed whacking, same thing goes through my head, whacking off. And then I go to like cutting weeds, right? And so maybe that's why I use weed whipping too.
yeah, Mike's out there weed whipping, and after he's done weed whipping, he whacks his little weed.
Then I'm weed whacking.
Whacking his weeder.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we can get into overs and unders. I'll start with my under for the week. So I had to go pick up groceries. So when I do that, I take the interstate going to Toma. So the interstate, they put about a bunch of construction cones out right at the split in Toma, which makes it like impossible to like function there. So then you end up going pretty slow. I was going 10 miles an hour on the interstate between Camp Douglas and the split. And my car overheated again. So I had to go pull off to the side of the road, which is probably nice to be in a traffic jam when you got to pull off because
Yeah,
at
you
least
don't
then
have
you're
to.
not going to get hit going 75, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, just like 12 miles an hour if they hit you.
Yeah, which
You can
is
shake
much
that
better
off.
than,
Yeah, you can shake
yeah, I
that
could shake
off.
that one off. No problem. I think Donald Driver said it's like getting into like 100 car accidents when you're playing football. I think that's what his seatbelt commercial used to say.
Click it or tick it, motherfucker.
Yep. So I could take that. I mean, like I can take one or two hits. I might not be able to take 100 of them, but so anyway, car overheated, had to pull over on the highway. Luckily enough, I still had some water and some coolant in my car because
Drunk.
of the shit that happened, right?
Yeah.
And so was able to get myself off the highway, but I do have another leak in my coolant hose somewhere because it got super low again. And I don't know where. I'm gonna have to dig into that kind of as the weeks go.
How long is a coolant hose? Can you just like duct tape this bitch back together or what?
So that's what the guy at the auto shop told me to do is just like, why don't you just use duct tape? Well, one, I didn't have duct tape, and two, like I can just fix it. It's Cost me $30 or whatever to get the hose. So the first hose was probably like 4 inches. And then there's another hose that's probably like 12 to 18 inches, right? So it connects, so it goes from your coolant reservoir into your like into your engine maybe, because it keeps your engine cool. That's the idea
Yeah.
of it. So like it keeps your engine from overheating. And then there must be another hose that runs into your and, and I'm not a car guy, so people are going to be like, you're a fucking moron, right? But into your, I want to say radiator, right? Where it runs through that to stay cold. That's where the fan blows in the front. So the
Yeah.
fan blow, I think.
No,
This is all I think, right?
you're more of a car guy than I am. I promise you that. Like even just I forgot like the term radiator existed. Like I was like, oh yeah, there is radiators in cars.
Yeah, and I
But
feel like is that like an old cars had radiators and new cars don't? But I'm pretty sure that's it. That it runs through the radiator, it gets all like thinned out, right? And then the air comes through it. You have your fan that blows in there, and then this water substitute keeps your engine below like 500 degrees. So if you get your engine too hot, then your engine will warp if it's running. Like it can like melt type of thing. And then it warps and then your pistons don't work properly. So
pistons go up and down. I know what those do.
just like that.
They're milking a cow or on a skiing trip with their buddies.
Yeah. So the pistons like then they'll start knocking and they'll like bust through the engine block and then your car's no good anymore. And so I gotta either get it fixed or get rid of the car. So
it is crazy to me, like I don't know, just how smart mechanics are, I guess, and how much time people have to like fiddle around with, or not how much time, but like how much time people do spend fiddling around with that stuff. But like all of what you just said, like someone could like explain it to you like very clearly. And it's like,
and 100 times better, right?
yeah, and
like
it's like rocket science to me, but like it's car science.
Yeah, so I had a professor once that said, oh, like everybody says it's not rocket science, it's not rocket science, it's not rocket science, right? But like rocket science only has one answer, right? Like rocket science, when you know rocket science, you know it.
Okay.
Right. So I think so. And like his thing was that like if you're dealing with people, creates a whole different dynamic because I could say, Pat, like you shouldn't do this, and you could accept it and it'd be awesome. And I could say that to someone else, hey, you shouldn't do this, and they'd be like, well, why the fuck not? And like start questioning me. Like I can get two different responses. So I think expertise and like being like super smart has everything to do with like what you focus on.
So if we're throwing it to Ninja Turtles, what do you think mechanics are? Do you think they're Donatello-esque? They got Donatello and Raphael, right? Like they're kind of like some
So
mechanics are pretty nice, though. Some are Mike.
No, so I think that I think that you're the Donatello. You're the guy that loves digging into anything and like figuring out how it works. That's what a mechanic is. So mechanics have dug into cars in an extreme way and just to figure out how they work.
Do you think if someone was like, okay, you can't buy a car, but you can buy everything that goes into a car, do you think you could figure out how to make a car that works? You know what I'm saying? Like
So
you have to buy
alone?
like, so maybe I would just say the engine or whatever, like the engine and
Yeah, but do
then
I have to do this like just by myself? Can I use tools that I have like currently? So I have like other people's knowledge. I have YouTube, that kind of stuff.
no.
So I
To
just have to like how like do I get big pieces or little pieces? Do I have like the pistons to the engine or do I just have an engine?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna give you the frame, and then like if the part is named something, you could buy those parts.
Okay.
Like, say me, for example, like I would not be able to even remember all the parts that go in an engine to figure
D-
out like how to. Maybe you can ask the guy at the front desk too, like, but just
Could I
him.
buy a paper manual?
No,
I don't think I could. No.
no,
So
I
like
definitely can.
if I get like a whole engine and then maybe like a really like basic like 50s car, you might be able to because there's not a lot to those.
But you get to have, okay, no, I like this. But you get to have an engine, like one that's completely built
Yeah.
next to you. And you can take that apart, but you can't use the parts.
Ooh, geez. So I could have a car and then like a completed car next to me.
Yeah, and you
Same
could like
car.
take the part out, bring it into the auto shop, be
Be
like, I
like, hey,
need this one.
can you get me one of these? Yeah. Maybe. I mean, it would take me a long time. I, d- I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I
So,
definitely,
and this is the best
definitely could
advice I've
figure it
ever
out.
gotten. And this is our like a mutual friend of ours. Carl gave me the best advice I've ever gotten about how to repair cars. All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
It's mind blowing. If you take a part out, put a part back.
Yeah.
Right? If you take a part out of a car, put the same part back, everything should still run.
Yeah, he was good at that
Yeah,
shit though.
he
Like
could take apart a car and probably put it back together.
oh, guaranteed. He did that for fun. I was like, that does not fucking sound
Yeah,
fun.
but do you think
Like,
he can do it with like no references?
I bet you at this point in time, he was, I think, the same age as me. So a 33-year-old guy that builds drifting cars. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I would
I would
imagine
give
that
him,
probably can.
I would give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's seen it all before because I'm pretty sure the cars they were drifting were like, they were beating the shit out of them. So they were having to like replace stuff like all the
Yeah,
fucking time. Like, so,
yeah, that's fair.
but, but yeah, I respect mechanics other than the fact that I think they rip me off every time I go to
Well, that's because you don't have the expertise. Take a part
them.
out, put a part back, easy peasy, right? Just
I
changed
gotta,
your life, Pat.
I gotta start doing that. I gotta start doing that more.
And YouTube is like, if you have to dig into cars, YouTube is a lifesaver, right? Like they'll
Yeah.
get you a long way. I had to repair my own air conditioning once, and it actually worked. Got it to did it. It was impressive. I do a lot of like air conditioning work kind of now. Not now. Right when I moved back to Wisconsin, I did a lot. Like
Mm.
probably like 3 cars or 4 cars a summer. And it
I,
generally
I
always worked.
I can change a tire, so that's about what I got
Nice.
going for me.
Nice. I actually have a good story about a tire change. I'll get into it because I don't think we have an extensive thing, so I'll get into this. So my girlfriend at the time, my now wife, gets a flat tire, and I'm like, so I must be 17. This is in the fall of my senior year, and so like I didn't dick with cars at all. Everything that I ever needed done, just run to dad. Hey, dad, this is broke. See you later. I'm gonna go do stuff. I'm gonna take your car while you fix mine.
Go whack
Whatever.
my weed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go weed whip and then weed whack. So, um, like she calls me. She goes, "I got a flat tire. Can you come help me?" And I go, "Yes, I can." Lie to her, like straight up lie to her, and then not complete lie. I did fix her car, but so my dad, like, I'm getting ready to leave. I'm like, "Oh, Kelly's got a flat tire. I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna fix the flat tire." My dad goes, "Do you know how to fix a flat tire?" I go, "Nope, but I'm gonna figure it out on the fly." He's like, "Do you want me to come?" I said, "No, I can't look like I don't know how to fix a flat tire." Right. And so drove up there, figured it out. Like it wasn't like not overly complex, right? It's just fixing a flat tire, right? Switching a tire out. But I was a little nervous on the trip over that I'd fuck it up and have to call the old man. So
No,
didn't happen though. It was
that
all
is good. We've had flat tires recently where I forgot to pull the parking brake and I could not figure out for the life of me why when I was jacking it up, the car would roll forward. So yeah, you did
Oh yeah.
better than me as a 32-year-old.
I might I mean, so this is 20 years ago. So I might have asked 19 and a half years ago. I might have asked for some like a few pointers before I left too, but
Yeah,
I got it. I
it's
got it handled.
that a boy showed off and then got some road head on the way back home.
Not we went in opposite directions, sadly enough.
Oh, you let her leave.
Let her leave. Yep, just let her drive home like a crazy person. All right. So my overs. So I've been trying to stop scrolling my phone after work. So I have my phone on me, right? Like if somebody would call or like want to text me, like whatever, I have it on me. But I haven't been scrolling just to scroll. No doom scrolling. Like just minute after minute, hour after hour, like just scrolling my phone, which I've been doing a lot of. I think I'm up to like 5 hours a day on my phone, and 8 of those hours my phone is locked away. It's just not
That's
okay. Like,
insane, dude.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so like I'm just at home and I'm like watching the kids, just have my phone up, whatever. And so I've decided that after work I'm not going to do that anymore. And I've done well for 2 days.
That a
I
boy.
so I did say that I was going to make some big changes to my diet and like my workout regime. That did not happen. However, I am doing well on not doom scrolling currently.
Yeah, one step at a time, and you're good to go.
I don't
The
know.
diet comes
I
next.
should just be able to do all this shit. I just don't want it. Summer is way harder for me to do shit like diet than winter. Like I hate dieting in the summer. I want to be like drinking margaritas and eating pizza fucking
Yeah,
every day.
no inhibitions. Yeah,
Yeah.
going out on the
But
boat.
then
You want to go out on the
but
boat.
if you do that shit, then you got to leave your fucking shirt on at the beach because you're a fat fucking slob like me.
Yeah, or you just rock it. You just accept it, and you're good to go.
I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
All right, how'd your week
Well,
go?
mine was good. So, um, what do I got for my under here? So I'm back on the night shift, and for some reason, when I'm on night shift, it's not even being on night shift that's the under. It is how much I feel like I need to talk about that I'm on a night shift and like how my schedule changes. Um, but yeah,
And do you like being the night shift?
not really, but I wouldn't consider it like super awful by any means. I think it's bad for your health, and that's kind of the part I don't like about it. But I think I rolled right back into my groove. It did take me one night where I don't know, I had one of those ideas where I was like, it was an aggressive idea. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up till 11 after night shift. So 11 in the morning. I get done at whatever, 5, 6 o'clock. Um, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up for 5 hours or even till 10 and then sleep from 10 to 6 or 11 to 7 and then go back in. But that's just not feasible. I don't know. So I tried that one night and I made it to like 7 after getting off at 6. Maybe I made it till 8 watching TV in bed. But yeah, then I just realized, okay, never mind. I just go to bed right when I get home. So say I get home at 7, try to sleep till 3 or 4. So get 8, 9 hours of sleep. And then from that, then I just use that time as my free time. Like head to the gym around 7:30ish and then work out till 8:30, fart around for a little bit, get to work by 10. Well, I'm not saying all the numbers right, but it's like a
Yeah.
decent window to get there. But
All right. So like you're getting home and going to bed at like 6:30 in the morning.
yeah, that's
Do you
100%
have
correct.
to have blackout windows or does it fuck you up?
No, not really. I'm a professional sleeper, so I can do pretty good when it comes to that. Like there
Is
is,
it gonna fuck you up if you're like when you're with your significant other who's probably up during the day?
I don't think so, because I think we're fine, not finally, but we're at a point where I'm like, hey, this is just how it's gonna be for a while. Like I'll try my hardest on like my off days, but like our schedules are gonna be like polar opposite for a while. So the way I'm rolling right now, we would have from like 4 to 7:30 to hang out, which would be
Yeah.
perfect.
Which isn't terrible. Like to be fair, that's probably what my wife and I have, maybe a little bit later into the night, right?
Yeah,
But I get home from work at 4:05 or whatever. So
yeah,
really, she's not usually up before I leave for work.
yeah. So yeah, it like really isn't that bad. And like I said, the more under part of it is just that when I'm on night shift, I don't know why, but there's something in my head that just like feels the need to tell everybody, like, ah, yeah, I'm a night shift worker right now. Like, just just got off work and came over here to drop my drop my stuff off or whatever.
So
That
it's
happened
you
today.
more than it's other people.
Yeah, because
Okay.
people, and I was part of this, and we've talked about this on the show. It's boring as shit, but like, don't have any, like, if you never worked night shift like that, or if you haven't done it in a long time, you don't realize. Like, you think people are sleeping way more than they really are. Like I always remember my sister worked night shift and would complain about not getting any sleep. I'm like, what are you talking about? You sleep all fucking day. And and then
Oh
like
yeah.
once it happened to me, I was like, oh yeah, that's why she slept all day. Like, and probably still didn't get enough sleep. So
Yeah. I think I probably do take for granted like the amount of sleep that I actually get. I've been sleeping a lot lately, but like going to bed at like 8 o'clock, waking up at like 6, not 6, 5:30. I have to be up before 6.
yeah.
Just fucking snoozing away.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been nice getting back to work though. So I can't complain too much. So pretty good job that I have. And then other than that, I guess a under would be, so we got this 3 bedroom apartment in Fort Walton while I'm gonna be on these orders. So basically moving the whole crew to Fort Walton Beach for the summer, which is definitely an over. But the guy who gave me the place, and this dude was awesome. Uh, but I think he kind of got in above his head a little bit, where he told me this place was going to be ready before he could really get it ready. And so I was supposed to be there like the 27th or 28th. And he initially, so I had this for like, it was like a month out. And he was like, yeah, the place will be ready to go by then. And the day was approaching. And I think he would have pressed and had it livable by the 28th if I really needed him to have it ready by that. But then I was like, all right, I'm going to reach out to my in laws in the area and see if they could put me up for like a week to give this guy an extra week. And this leads to my over, which is I got to spend the week with my aunt and uncle in law, and that was pretty fun.
So this is your wife's aunt and uncle.
Yeah, and it's like
Okay.
a aunt and uncle, like it's like close enough family. It would be like if your kids like needed to stay with me for some reason if they were
Okay, yeah,
in
I got you.
Florida, like something like that. And yeah, that was fun. It's just always interesting to me to see like how other people live like on a day-to-day basis, like, and then you get to like jump kind of into their shoes because like I said, I was waking up at like 4, but then our uncle would be like watching Jeopardy or some shit, like, and then this, that, and the other, and that was super fun. But then yeah, no, and they're like hosts to the most. Like, I don't know if it's like a Brazilian thing, um, that they always feel like they need to feed you or something. It might just be like an ant thing in
Yeah.
general. That so I kept telling them, I was like, please don't worry about like feeding me. But like they were very concerned about feeding me. Like
So
whenever I was up.
I think it's like a parental thing, and maybe they aren't even parents, but like you don't want someone in your house and then they're not eating, right? And like if they don't see you eat, they can just assume, oh, he's not getting enough food. You know what I mean? Which isn't accurate at all. Or like he's
No,
not comfortable enough to go get food out of the fridge or like whatever it is. Which also probably not accurate, right? Like that you're
it was
finding food, whether it's at Wendy's or whatever,
yeah.
you're finding food. They just aren't seeing that you're eating, and it concerns them.
Yep, no, you nailed it. Cause yeah, there's a McDonald's on my stop on the way home. So I'm coming home in the morning. So I would just eat breakfast at McDonald's just so I could just go to sleep. And not have to like dig through the kitchen at like the same time somebody else wants to dig through the kitchen and stuff. So there is like, I was very comfortable there, but like that is something like I'm almost not even comfortable like with my wife to be like, I just don't like being in the kitchen at the same time needing to do the same thing. And then like we're like taking turns. Like it's not that I'm not comfortable doing it. It's just like I'd rather not do it. So like
Yeah,
that's where I would take care of that.
I think I can understand that, especially if you're in somebody else's house, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess I've been married kind of a long time and been with my wife for kind of a long time, right? So, uh, for me, that is more comfortable, right? Like, I don't have issues. If like I'm hungry and I'm going to eat, I will, putz around and like take turns in the kitchen. But if I was at somebody else's house, like that would feel odd, very odd to me, I think. Like,
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like they wouldn't make anything feel odd to you. Like I could dig through their fridge like no matter what. Like they like encouraged it almost. Or like you
yeah,
need
yep.
to go to the fridge to do this. And so it was awesome. So it was a good time seeing them. But then I did have like an embarrassing moment today
They caught you
because
beating off.
that would be embarrassing. But no, it, it not quite that. But so
Whacking
I
the
was
weed.
yeah, whacking my weed over there. That would be rough. So that would be. I wonder if they'd be so welcoming to like let me go into their fridge as much if they caught me doing that. But
They
this is
just want to
not.
see you wash your hands first. That's all.
Go wash your hands and then you can go to the fridge. That would be brutal. Yeah. Thankfully they did not do that. But anyways, the embarrassing moment happened when I wanted to drop my bags off at the house that we're going to be staying at next week. So I didn't have to bring all my bags back to Tallahassee with me. Plus I plan on bringing the dogs down. So I just wanted more room for the dogs. But like I said, the people are still working on this house that we're going to be getting into. So they really haven't wanted me to like come over and see it because they didn't want me to like freak out. So I was just like how I am. I was like, I'm gonna say something like polite about the house, like when I walk in to
Yeah,
drop
so
my
you made
bags
a
off.
conscious decision like beforehand. Doesn't matter what the fuck it looks like. I'm going to say something really nice so they're not worried about it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly what happened. And I looked at like the outside of the house and I was like, I kind of like the look of the outside of the house. It's like kind of brown. I don't know. I don't give a shit about like aesthetically pleasing things, but like it, I would say it was kind of aesthetically pleasing to me. Like where I was like, oh, they must have done something to the outside of the house. And I walk in the door and meet the guy for the very first time. Definitely not. I've been texting a guy named Jeff, and definitely not what I thought. For some reason, I was like expecting like a chubbier dude that would like, I don't know, like be big and like strong and like kind of like a construction worker type guy. But he definitely looked like he runs a lot or something. Like
Is he a
I was,
soldier
I can't
or
remember.
sorry, an airman? Is he an airman?
I can't remember if he is former military. I
Okay,
think
but he's
so.
not current.
No.
Okay.
Like they would be in there like if I had to gauge it, I hate doing this to people. I know they're not going to listen to this, so I don't really care. So I would say
Well,
like
we're going to get everybody let Jeff know he needs to listen.
uh but I would say like mid 50s to early 60s is the age range that I would say they are. Like in very it was a couple in there and they're like very good shape, like very healthy looking people. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, but yeah, I definitely expected some like guy that you see at a construction site or something like
Yeah, I
that.
got you.
Like that's who I thought I was texting. But anyways, I was like, oh, the outside of the house looks great. And they're like, what? They were like offended by me saying that because they hate the outside of the house so much that they want to get it painted. And then I like walked back outside. It was a pretty awkward situation to like see, and I was like, I'm super tired right now, and I don't got
You should
so
have
I
walked back out and been like, yeah, I'd still love it. Looked
yeah
good.
no I and then they kind of threw me a bone. They're like, yeah, we did like power wash it and stuff like so it looks like clean.
But they just
So
don't like the
the
brown or
color,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, and I seen once I walked outside the second time that there's like those paint strips they give you like with what color you want it to be or something.
Oh, yeah.
There was like that stuck on the side of the house.
So they're
So like
changing the outside more than
yeah,
likely.
yeah. But it was an awkward moment for me. Uh but it whatever, after it like got that scoped out the house a little bit, still I'm kind of concerned because I'm supposed to be moving in Monday.
Yeah. So you saw the inside. What does the inside actually look like?
It's like the floors are great, the kitchen is great, but it's fully furnished and I didn't see any furniture. So I don't know if like that's like a quick fix or something like that.
So
But
what might have happened, right? So it's a fully furnished house. This is on post or no?
no, it's like right off the
Okay.
base.
So they've done this is probably something that they do is that they have it for soldiers or airmen.
Yeah, that whole area has
That
like
would be the assumption.
a market for people who are TUI there for long periods of time. I guess or
So
even short periods of time.
if they're changing everything out, it might be like an entire like they put everything in a storage area, they bring it back in.
Oh, that could
Right. So
be.
they have a storage shed. They put all their furniture in there. They do all the construction work because otherwise it's covered in dust and bullshit, right? And then just bring it back in when they're done.
That could be.
That'd be my
Um,
assumption. I mean, hopefully that's the case. And so that you have actual furniture when you're there and you're not on like cardboard boxes and milk crates and
yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'm not super concerned
take
about
your
that.
lawn chairs with you.
That's actually a good idea.
I mean, just in case, right? I mean, I don't know where you're sleeping, but lawn chairs and a inflatable
I
bed and
I will say there was a bed frame that was like scattered into pieces. There was definitely like a headboard up, so it looks like there'll be a bed frame in there, but whatever. I'm not too worried because like while I'm there, I don't care really. It's once my wife lives there and the way she likes things and keeps things, like it's it's just like her thing to have a nice place. Like she enjoys
Yeah.
having a nice place, which it will be. It is. It's super nice. And the people were awesome. It's like one of those people you meet and you're just like, okay, this guy's a good person. Because there was a lot of people I was dealing with, like while I was like looking for an apartment for this period of time, that I could tell they just like wanted to get the money from you as fast as possible. Where this guy's like, hey, I think I can hook you up with something, but you know, I kind of got to do this and this before I can do this type deal.
Yeah.
And
And I think that in a lot of cases, like outside of military posts, that can really be the case is that people just do not care
oh yeah,
because they know
they just
it's
see you
not
as
the soldier's money.
yeah, they just see you as dollar signs. And yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I was definitely trying to get sniped by a couple guys, and whatever my circumstance was like a little different from like other TDYs. And they were like, what? This person usually gets this much. And like, they were like, you're only getting that much? They're like, yeah, fuck you. Like, that's, you're like,
Yeah,
you
it's not
can't
enough
stay
or
in my
whatever.
place. They were like, well, we'll take some of your food money to, and I was like, no, like,
Right.
this is a lot of money that they give you to stay in a hotel. Like if you, there's no way the average person can afford the rent that we're paying for this
No, yeah.
place.
So generally the military overpays for rent. It
It,
seems to me.
yeah, especially like on a TDY because they expect you to get a hotel. It would be like getting a hotel room every single night at
Oh
a
yeah, good point.
certain standard of hotel. So like
Yep.
say your budget's like $178 a night. 178 times 30 is a shit ton of money.
Shitload of money. Yeah.
And if you can't rent a house for that much money, someone's being an asshole. Like,
Yeah, they're getting their money out of their house. Like they're paying it
yeah,
off as fast as they can.
I wouldn't
And the
say that they're,
government's dumb enough to like allow that shit. That's the problem.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
because
mean? Like they should just be paying your normal. It shouldn't be no TDY shit. It should just all be like your normal like housing rate.
yeah,
Right? So like if you're active duty, you get a housing allowance, right? And you're
yep,
married,
yep,
that's what it should be, which would
yeah.
probably be less.
It is. It definitely is at least a little bit less. But with the military presence in that area, man,
Yep.
the housing, like the people who aren't military in that area just get absolutely screwed with like how much rent goes up. Like, I mean, that's where I met my wife, and honestly, where we started the podcast, I was still
Yep.
there. And my wife's rent from the time she moved in till the time we left, if we were to sign another year lease with them, it would have doubled in like a 4-year period. So yeah, a
It's
little crazy.
ridiculous.
All right, you ready to roll into this show?
Yepers. I
Because
mean, I
that
think
was
we kind of
basically
started it.
yeah, that was basically the bulk of the show. So we'll bark about the Brewers here real quick. So 5-5 in their last 10 games. If we want to go series wise, they've played Houston at home, San Francisco at home, Toronto in Toronto, and they are currently in Cincinnati. They took 2 of 3 from Houston. They took 1 of 4 from San Francisco, 1 of 3 from Toronto, and then they started the series with Cincinnati today with an extra innings win. I do have some beef with that game because it wouldn't let me get it on the MLB TV app because I needed Apple TV to get this game, which kind of pissed me off because you pay for like the out of market thing. Apple TV is about the only one of the subscriptions I don't have. But anyways, I'll have to wait till tomorrow till the recap comes up to be able to see what happened in that game. But just like a quick look at that, Corbin Burns got ejected for arguing with the ump after a sliding catch. So I can read that, but I did not see that happen.
Yeah, you don't really know what happens there. No,
Yeah.
I have big problems, and it might start with Major League Baseball, but the NBA is in this as well. Right? So if I want to buy your fucking product, at least let me watch the goddamn games.
Yeah,
If
no,
I buy your product, I should be able to watch every game regardless of what it's played on.
yeah, if I didn't live with my wife, I think the only things I would need is like ESPN Plus, NFL ticket, MLB, whatever you want to call it, NBA courtside, like the sports channels. And there's just no way to do it, especially in your case, like if you live in the market. Like I'm pretty lucky right now that I don't need like Bally Sports to watch games and shit. But yeah, well, whatever. We won't hammer that nail too hard. I feel like we've done that before. But like I said, yeah,
it's just shitty. I think like you're to some extent like putting people out of the market that should be your fans, right? The people in Wisconsin should be your fans.
Yeah, no, I would rather have MLB ticket than just have Bally Sports. Like MLB ticket gives me so much more, and like it's just it's a fantastic site. If you're like an out of market fan, you get like 3 different options to watch the game. You can watch the Brewers broadcast, the Cincinnati broadcast. You can listen to the game on the Brewers network, the Cincinnati network, and then you can watch the condensed game, which is just the pitch that shit happens on. And then you can also watch just the recap where the scoring plays and the double plays and the big plays happen. So it is fantastic if you're an out of market fan buying this. But we'll get into what the Brewers are doing right now. So they're 30-27 on the season, which is still good enough for first place, 1 game ahead of the Pirates, who are 28-27. I think if we were to look at the whole league, the NL Central would be one of the worst leagues right now, because I know when the Brewers went over to the NL, they were playing teams with lots better records than them. So I'm just going to do a quick check. And yes, the Brewers are definitely the worst record that's leading their respective division right now. As for top performers over the past week, since we've recorded, Owen Miller still staying fucking hot. This guy's a stud, hitting 300 over that stretch, has 4 RBIs. It came up big in a couple spots. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have way too much in terms of the stats, just because we were kind of scrambling today. One of the weird ones that I've seen though is Joey Weimer over this 7-day stretch has 4 stolen bases. So he's been running just wild on the bases. And then as for home run hitters, William Contreras has 2 homers, and then Abraham Toro has 1 homer in that stretch. And that was his first this year, and I think his first with the Brewers. So that is that. You got anything to add to the hitting side of things, Mike?
No, I don't have anything to add to the Brewers really at all. I was tracking on Sunday kind of things that they made, some moves that they made, but I don't even know if those things are still accurate or if they've been making moves and like shuffling guys up and down from AAA after the Adamas gets put on the IL, right? So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of been the same story as like of the whole season. And we've touched on that before, but it is getting pretty consistent. Is like the games the Brewers do score runs, they score them in a bunch. And then when they're not hitting, they're not hitting. I don't know if you saw in the banging on the drum stat, but our old boy, our dog, told us the Brewers were basically 26th or worse in every major hitting category.
I did see that.
Yeah, and then I even brought up the fact that, yeah, and there's games, usually the games we win, like, we're scoring like 5 to 10 runs. So if you take those, like if you put those stats into something that says like in a close game hitting stats, we got to be dead last in that shit. Because I'm pretty sure the last time I looked, we're definitely behind in run differential I guess in run differential. So
yeah, which is it's a tough place to be behind in run differential and be in first place because that doesn't like pan out long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we're definitely not in the right place right now. But like I said, the NL Central is a little bit down this year. As for pitching stats, though, our favorite stat, quality start. So over this 7-game stretch, we've had 3 quality starts, one from Julio Terrain, one from Corbin Burns, and one from Freddie Peralta. As for the wins that we're getting, Colin Ray got the win and Julio Terrain got the win in one of his starts, which is kind of, oh no, never mind. I was looking at the ERA below him, but Adrian Hauser got shelled. And the one thing I wanted to touch on, Blue Jays, very fun team to watch. It does remind me, maybe it's like a romantic memory of like old Brewers teams, but those guys can just bop. They got like a fat pitcher, which I wish I would have wrote down these people's names. Their catcher is just like a chubby dude that's like super good. He's a super good catcher. He was like the AL's all-star, but that's about how close I pay attention to baseball is. I didn't even know who the AL
outside of the Brewers, right?
Yeah.
So
especially outside the NL.
And then they got like a legacy player in Vlad Jr., right?
Yeah, and Bo Bichette is a stud, and that's Dante Bichette's kid, former Rockies.
Bichetti.
Bichetti? Is it? I think it's Bo Bichette.
Dante Bichetti, right?
No, it's Dante Bichette.
All right. You say so.
I don't know. We'll Google it real quick.
You're not going to get a pronunciation out of that, are you?
Yeah, I definitely will. Bichetti. And then now I'm even questioning if it's Dante Bichette's kid, but it definitely is.
I would imagine it is, and I think it's Bichetti.
Yeah.
He's Italian.
Pronounce CH. That's a tough word to say. Okay. It's Bichette. I don't know if I can make it so everybody can hear it, but it's Dante Bichette.
AI don't know shit.
No, definitely was right. You made me question.
I think for sure it's Bichetti. I'm gonna stick with that for the rest of my days. Maybe we'll get him on, clear up his name for all our fans.
Dante Bichette and Bo Bichette, you stupid Bichetti. All right, that's all I have for the Brewers. But I will read your notes because you did a good job taking them.
I don't know if I did. This happened on Sunday. I did verify. I shouldn't say I verified them. I looked at one source.
Yeah,
How
that's
many
fair.
sources do you need to like make sure something is legit?
I think depending on the source, just one. That's
Oh,
the
okay. So like depending on the source, maybe just one. This is probably not the scenario that's true in because I just went to the internet. But so let's just say that you see something on the internet. How many times do you need to see it to confirm that it's true? Or think that it's true?
I think you need to find the right source that says that it's true. Like if you just
So
see
it
something
doesn't
on,
matter how many people, you got to find somebody credible. One
yeah,
credible source is fine.
because you could see 1,000 people talking about how flat the earth is flat. Like
Yeah.
you could pick 1,000 different articles about the earth being flat. Doesn't mean it's
Are
flat. Like you
are
need
you
to find the
certain that
right
it's
source.
not flat?
I guess I'm not certain
Okay, you're
that it's
not.
not
Okay.
flat. Like
I
I
am
couldn't,
certain it's not flat.
yeah, but could you definitely say that you proved that it's not flat?
No, but that doesn't mean shit. I don't care. They can't prove that it's flat.
So I would say I
I,
100% believe the world is not flat, but I will 100% also say that I've never done anything to prove that the world is not flat. And I've
100%.
trusted sources that say the world is not flat,
Yeah.
such
So I
as
would agree.
satellites and
I
things like that.
so Pat, you have to have an idea, even a better idea than me, that the world is not flat, due to like what you do for the military and like the weather patterns and like shit of that nature. Correct?
Yeah, definitely. If I trust that what I'm looking at is factual, which I do, I could tell you the world's not flat. But I'm just saying I've never went into like a rocket ship to look outside to see that the world was round. It's the evil genius theory and the Descartes argument
Ooh,
that
please
um
elaborate.
well it's just so it's the matrix. We could go down the matrix road again. So it's basically the matrix is you could be simulated into a world, into this where everything's simulated to you to be fake. And there's no real good way to prove that that's not true. I don't think that that's true, but I also cannot definitively tell you that I'm not in a simulation right now.
It's more likely than not that we're in a simulation.
You think so?
So, I would say 100% it's more likely than not, but I don't believe that we are, right? So there, because the simulation that would exist on an infinite level, you could run an infinite simulations where
Yes.
you can only run one like thing that's real. Like one thing that I shouldn't say run because that's not right. But like a simulation can be run 100 million times, right?
Yeah.
Where this can only be once. So
I wonder
really,
though.
the percentage of it being the simulation and not the original is super high if there's
And
ever a simulation run.
and if you're like a Christian believing person, like I think life kind of is a simulation to you. It's kind of a test for you to get into heaven.
Oh
So
man, so I've had a lot of like thoughts about this in the last 4 weeks, right? And then did I get into like my theory on uh, how I kind of like what I believe we're here for? Do you remember? Did I do that?
Go for
I
it.
did not. Okay. I
We're
can't
here
remember
for
if I told you or if I told somebody else. Yeah, I'll just reiterate it for our new listeners. I know we get a few dozen every week that just tune
Yeah.
in brand new.
I
So
decided I'm gonna start telling people we're just gonna times the number that we get by 1,000, and that's
yeah, I
how.
like it.
So we get
Yeah.
about 10,000 an episode, just so everybody knows.
10,000 listeners an episode. We're killing it. Just
Yeah.
killing it. Make sure you tell your friends so they don't miss out on all the interesting stuff that we have to say.
And then we can get 11,000.
Yep. So I think I shouldn't say I think this. This crosses my mind frequently about what the world is that this is the test for us or for me, right? So like to some extent you do not exist, right? So you're here as a lesson point for me. Right? So
Yes.
your life like interacts with my life, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't know, famous people like Leonardo DiCaprio, his life interacts with my life from afar. Like, and I can see the mistakes that he makes. And this world only revolves around me. It's a very like self-centered concept, right? But I think
Yeah.
you have the same thing. You
Yeah.
have a world that only revolves around you, and that's your test, right? You can see all the pitfalls and the failures. What I thought for a very, very long time is that nothing overly good or overly bad can happen to me, right? And then people make the argument, well, you had kids. And I said, that's very, very common for people to have kids, right? So that like me winning $1 billion in the lottery, like it's impossible for that to happen to me because this is my test, right? And my
Oh, I get
test
what you're
is
saying.
like of a person that like you shouldn't have anything that sets you back significantly in your test, right? That doesn't make sense to me. Like I get a test and like I have two loving parents and I have two loving sisters and my family is really cohesive and I can talk to everybody and there's no like really bad shit that happens inside my test. Right? So like a month ago some bad shit happened inside my test, right?
Yeah.
40 or 37 years into my test. The first like thing that really like I see as like super detrimental to my life happened. 37 years in. That's a long time into this test for that to happen. And maybe I'm forgetting about some things, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like I think everybody has very, very similar tests to me, right? Like they don't in a different dimension or a different world, they get a test that is similar to mine. Otherwise, I have made it or like my life has made it too easy for the test to get into heaven. My
Okay.
life is too easy for the test into heaven.
I
Right?
would call
Making the
the
right decision is simple.
I would call that the video game theory. So some people
Oh,
play
interesting.
some
Please,
some
please elaborate.
some people play on easy. So like I was thinking this on my way home.
Ooh.
So you have like your Trumps or like your people born into like a pretty nice lifestyle. You have
Yep,
us that I would say we play on closer to easy than the majority of the world. But then you have
I
people
do. I
born,
do for sure.
yeah, yeah, me too. And then you have people who are just born into shit that is super tough to overcome
Yeah.
and hard. So like a good example of somebody that's playing on hard is say like Giannis. He's playing on very difficult and he's thriving on very difficult.
So he's like and I don't want to say the best basketball player in the world, but he's the best life player in the world. So
He
if
would be
life is a game, if this is a video game theory, right? We're talking about it's video games. He's one of the best players in the entire world for life.
yes. Yeah, so he was smart when he was making his avatar that he gave himself attributes to uh get to
I
like
didn't know I could
where
make my own avatar. Fuck.
you
Screwed it up.
did, you did, you'll find out once you die, is that you were just playing a game the whole time. No, I've thought about that before though. Whatever. I've had similar thoughts to you, but that's where I equated it to. It was more of like a video game.
Yeah, so now even people who are born on third base thinking they hit a triple, right?
Yeah.
Like they definitely have some pitfalls that I will never have, right? So like I don't need like there's probably like zero moral quandaries for me that would end up with me like being able to fuck people over. Like I don't even have that opportunity.
I mean, yeah, to a degree. I mean,
To a
you're
degree.
like,
Like I can't like bulldoze somebody's like entire apartment complex and be like, find something else. You know, you're on the streets now. Like that's not something I have control over. Where some of those people grow up into that where they certainly could.
yeah, yeah. I mean, different problems in different areas, but
But like I think this is my test. And so like having too much money and then having like real morals, like it'd be too easy to just be like, oh, I have a shitload of money and like I want to be helpful to people and I want to like that piece of the test is too easy.
yeah, but it's
And
not.
I can just make the right decision all the time.
Yeah. Now, but
I mean,
yeah, like you said, it's
I
not.
don't want to pretend that I'm perfect, like that I just make the right decisions 100% of the time. But like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
you do a pretty good job at like I think I've said this before as well. Like your moral compass is pretty good because I kind
It's
of
not
feel
bad.
like mine
Like
is. I've definitely
I shouldn't say that. Like I think like you telling me this, I've started to like buy into the fact that my moral compass is good.
yeah, pumping you up a little bit.
Because
You read
I
oh
look
no.
at like my sister whose moral compass is better than mine. She passed away, right? And the little one, hers might be better than mine too, right? She's more she's definitely more like community oriented,
Yeah.
right? And so but like my older sister, like her moral compass 1,000 times better than mine. But like I think you need to have people that have better moral compasses even inside of your test.
Yeah, to learn
Like
from.
no one is going to be Mother Teresa where they make every fucking right decision the whole way around. And Mother Teresa might be a bad example. I don't know that she did make every right decision. However,
I
it
think there's
appears
like
that way.
a little backlash on her spreading disease in Africa, but uh that's not
Man,
here nor there.
right. Like I think there's good people out there and they're doing a lot of like good shit. And you have to have those people to be like, this is what you should be striving to be, even though you're only here. Right. Cause I'm certainly not the best human I know. Right. I'm certainly not. And so uh there to have those people on the test. And then I think you have more like, hey, learn this lesson. Don't be the guy that doesn't show up to work. Don't be the guy that is on fucking drugs on the street corner. Like, don't be the guy that's begging for money that doesn't need money. Right? There's things in this life that I think are like lessons.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah.
And you don't exist, Pat. I apologize. And none of our listeners exist. So you might as well tell your friends because they're not even real people.
Yep. Yeah. No,
Your
I
real
think
people are in a different dimension.
it gets dangerous when uh people start thinking like that. But
What do you mean by dangerous? I'm sorry. I'm
it's
off on
it's
a tangent.
I think it's like a way, way, way more common thought than you would think. Like, I think it's one of philosophy's biggest questions. Like I said, like the dude, Rene Descartes or whatever, Descartes, that was like his whole thing
Is it
was,
Descartes or Descartes? Because it's basically Bashad or Bichetti.
I think it's Rene
I'm,
Descartes. He was French, um, but, but yeah, no, I think it's a
I'm just
common
fucking with you.
think it is a common thought. But that's Brewers free agency to you right there.
Yeah,
That's
right there. That little spot right there. Brewers free agency. They
or
did call
whatever.
up an infielder, Andrew Monasterio,
Nailed
and they
it.
called up a right-handed pitcher, Jake Cousins from Nashville. They brought him in. I don't know if they used him at all. Didn't see.
Do you know who his cousin is?
Probably John, Jacob, Jingleheimer
Kirk
Schmidt.
Kirk Cousins. He's got that stank on him. He's got Viking stank on him.
Yeah, fucking kick him back. Send him
Yeah.
someplace else.
Double A. Let's send him to Biloxi. All right. NFL news, Mike. You got this.
All
You
right, so
got
I don't have too much. We covered Hopkins getting cut last week. I don't think that I heard anything substantial since then. However, AJ Dillon did throw a little Door County party. I think I would have enjoyed being at this. It would have been interesting. Seemed like a lot of the Packers were there. Jordan Love was there, and he appears to be like he's out, he's with his team. It's good. Very Aaron Rodgers-esque, right? So we've seen Aaron Rodgers doing things like this mostly around Halloween, where he's got the whole team together. And then Christian Watson beat Simone Biles in a foot race. I don't know if that's actually impressive, but I was happy
Yeah,
that I saw
no,
it on Twitter.
I don't get the correlation to that because Simone Biles is like a gymnastics person. She's not like a sprinter or something like that.
Yeah, I would assume that she is not necessary. I mean, compared to Christian Watson, I would assume that she is not even remotely fast. I would imagine because she's a good athlete that she is fast,
Yeah.
right? But like Christian Watson, it was pretty obvious, like slipped right out the gate and still beat her very, very easily.
Yeah, I did not see this. But yeah, like you said, I don't know how impressive that is. Like I would get it if she was like that Lolo or Lolo Jones or something like that. Like
Yeah, like a sprinter, right? Like a
yeah.
female like sprinter. Yeah.
But,
I'm sure
but
that like she has like an insane amount of confidence in probably most things because
but
she's an elite level athlete.
I'm pretty sure Watson probably like flatline speed most of the dudes in gymnastics. Like I don't think that's the thing that they're working on. They're like, oh, I can.
So speed is just explosiveness, though, right?
I guess it depends how far you're going, but yeah.
Yeah, it was not super far. It seemed like 15 or 20 yards, but cooked her either way.
Well, he's a beast. Good job.
Well, yeah, he's 6'4" and she's probably like 5'3". Like, what do you expect? Like, it takes him six stride lengths. It takes her 24.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna look that up afterwards. I want to see what you're talking about.
Yeah. But they had a big party. Like the team was out there. It seemed like everybody was gelling. I did see today that Romeo Dobbs doesn't think there's a big difference between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. I think that's easy to say in spring training, right?
Yeah.
When none of the like mental part of the game is there. It's just doing the physical motions, right? It's not breaking down the defense. It's not really functioning inside an offense against a team that really is trying to stop you. So I
Yeah.
think that is like a bit of a not a good sign. Oh yeah, he's awesome. Like
It
this
would
is
be
not the time to judge that.
it would be interesting to get like a pretty humble pro athlete on uh that was on some shitty teams to see if he ever thought they sucked like in training camp. I guess
think
if you
I
go
think
from
Joe
like
Thomas, who was on a bunch of teams that were terrible, never thought like there's no chance we can win today. And he went 0-16 at least once,
yeah.
maybe twice.
Yeah, no. I don't think there's anything. Romeo Dobbs, second year wide receiver, says Jordan Love it seems as good as Aaron Rodgers. I mean, whatever.
He said he
I'm
doesn't see much difference,
yeah. I mean,
which is
there's
crazy because the difference is the brain, right? So the athletic ability might not be that different. The difference is the brain. But we've seen, I mean, so Sam Darnold has the athletic ability that Aaron Rodgers has. He can throw the ball as far. He just does. He just can. I mean, shit, Aaron Rodgers is better athletically than Tom Brady. Was his whole
yeah,
career. Didn't win nearly the Super Bowls, right? Didn't win nearly the games. He can make all the throws, right? Tom Brady figures out how to win games late. I mean, he just does.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not
no.
one dude. I get it's not one dude. But all we need this year is somebody competent and we'll be good. We'll be good. We won't be great. We'll just be good.
Yeah, no. I think we'll be decent if he's all right. And if he's great, if he is as good as Aaron Rodgers, we did it 3 times in a row.
If we did it 3 times in a row, I don't know what the NFL would start doing. They might start waiting 3 years to start a quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean there could be something to that.
You have to find the first one first.
The well, I mean, I think it used to be just common practice to sit a guy for 1 or 2 years for
Yeah.
sure. Because
So
even
was Favre a first or second round pick?
he was a second round pick, but I think he would have been a first round pick if he got into that bad car accident
Yeah.
and got like some of his intestines taken out.
Yeah, you're right.
So second round pick to Atlanta. And then
Maybe Jeff George was down there?
I could not tell you who Atlanta's quarterback was.
Yeah, me neither. That says
92.
something. You had a Hall of Famer sitting on your bench and you were allowed to be traded just because he's a little bit of a fuck up.
Yeah. It is what it is. We got him. You ready for NBA news?
Yeah, I'll get into the NBA news here. Breaking news in the NBA, probably last week sometime. The Bucks hired Toronto's assistant coach, Adrian Griffin. Giannis, Jesus, Giannis, what the fuck? Giannis and Chris Middleton both kind of sat in on meetings and discussions with who they liked, who they didn't like. So it sounds like both those guys are going to be around for the next 4 or 5 years minimum, right? So you don't make a hire and ask a player about it unless you think they are long-term players inside of your organization. That's great. The 76ers hired Nick Nurse, and then I did see who Phoenix hired today, but I can't remember who it was.
So you guys will have to figure that out for yourself because
By yourself. And we know that we have the smartest fans in podcasting. So you guys will do it easy.
I don't think so. You're giving them too much credit. They're probably
so
pretty
wrong. They are easily the smartest fans in all of podcast fans.
Phoenix
Fans is a weird word for people who listen to us. I guess that's what they are, but man.
So
I don't know.
they hired. It didn't show up in the first Google search. Oh, Suns reportedly Frank Vogel. So they just coach swapping around the league. So
I hate the coach swapping. I really like that that the Bucks took an assistant coach
yeah, they should
because
have.
I don't know like that I enjoy guys just getting job after job after job and just being okay.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that it's just like, oh, it didn't work there, go someplace else. It didn't work there, go someplace else. But
Yeah, these guys have the superstars. Now you win. Like, fuck off, man. Like, it can't be just players. There has to be something to coaching.
yeah, yeah, no, I think that one is a little odd that there's. I didn't honestly realize it until you kind of pointed out, but yeah, it seems like Doc Rivers will be coaching a team for the rest of time. Maybe he'll get a year off this year, but he'll just be back on another team if he hasn't already been hired. I don't even know.
I don't know.
So,
Right?
so I'm gonna do driving fast and turning left today because it was a pretty great feat for me. I actually watched the last 78 laps of the race that I can't even remember.
78 laps? How long did that take? 38
Uh
minutes?
shit. Yeah, I would say 35 to 45 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
Something like that. I thought it was the Coca-Cola something, but maybe I'm looking at the wrong. No, I'm looking at the right one. So Ryan Blaney won, and in the last 78 laps, at least, dude looked like he could not be passed. I don't know. He was faster out there that day. Our boy MTJ, though, when I tuned in at lap 78, he was in like 11th place, ends up finishing in 3rd place. So he did
Boom.
pretty well from my 78 laps worth of watching. I'm gonna pull the standings up here real quick to see where he's sitting, but he should have got some good points in that race. And my uncle-in-law, I don't know if he just watches sports more when I'm there because he knows I like sports, but seems like he's pretty well tuned into. He liked having the NASCAR race on. But anyways, Martin
So
Truex Jr.
like he was reacting like he never watches NASCAR and enjoyed having it on, or
So we watched the other racing thing too, like the F1 stuff. So I think he enjoys NASCAR or not NASCAR, like racing stuff.
Okay.
Because we watched God, the fancy place in France. I want to say Monaco. Yeah, so we watched that too. I don't know if we watched the whole
Did you
thing.
watch the Indy 500?
No, that we did miss the Indy 500 because I think that happened on Saturday, if I'm not crazy.
No idea.
But yeah, anyways, Martin Truex Jr. is in 5th place. I wanted to say I was a good NASCAR fan because I thought shit, who did we just say won it? It was
Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney. I thought he'd won like 5 times. I thought that was his 4th time, but I was getting him mixed up with that Will Byron or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. But yeah, I think how long have we been going, Mike? This little
Almost probably we're pushing 2 hours.
okay. I do not think
We're
gonna
not pushing
add
2 hours. We're probably at an hour and a half or so.
I do not think we're gonna add the extra stuff that we had on the end. So all you people, stay tuned next week. We got some psychologist stuff, and I think we might actually try to do the Ninja Turtles of the Packers defense if either of us remembers to do it. And we are gonna have a weird schedule here soon, just because I have a weird schedule, and then we'll match it up with Mike's schedule as well. But anyways, as always, Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate the support. We love you guys, and I will let Mike take you home on your drive here.
Thank you for listening. And if you're doubting the Packers, the Brewers, the Bucks, or the Badgers, or Martin Truex Jr., you can eat our shorts. Roll it.